Welcome everyone to a casted game for Age of Empires 4, and today spawning in the north corner of the map, playing in red, we've got 3DB playing as the Holy Roman Empire, and his opponent in the south, playing in blue, we've got Valdemar, playing as the Mongols. Welcome everyone to Cliffside, that's the map for today, and we've got the HRE versus the Mongols. I'll be pretty excited to see how this one pans out. We have got the Uvu popping out here for the Mongols, and possibly an outpost rush. I mean, kind of likely. That's what the Mongols do best. Now, speaking of which, I guess this is going to be an interesting one, because the cliffside map can be pretty aggressive at times, especially if you go straight down the middle. Something that can be walled off pretty easily, but you have to invest a lot of wood into that, and it doesn't usually happen in the early game. The HRE often do go for that fast castle build. It's something they always have in their armory, their abilities to do, and Khan using the scouting falcon just to see what's happening here. Valdemar maybe looking to go around the back, where he's going to need to find that gold vein, right, to try and deny. And the issue for the HRE is that both gold veins are at the back, which is, I mean, often it's actually a pretty good thing, but kind of a tricky situation here is that the Mongols, if they do look to get an outpost out, they can try and deny the two gold veins. It's something that maybe Valdemar is going to be opting to do, as he does now have that barracks being built. Scout for B. Going to go around and pick up as many sheep. He's actually picking up quite a few, I've got to say. And well, Valdemar only has 2 in his grasp. That's not great there, I've got to say. Did deposit a few, though, at least. So we'll have some underneath the town centre to keep the villagers working and busy. Now, the natural response for the HRE, considering there's going to be an outpost rush, most likely from the Mongols, and usually does happen, it's going to need to drop an outpost. And bear in mind that one outpost wouldn't be enough. You would need 2 at least. Because dropping an outpost there, as he is now, will deny the access for the Mongols on the east side, but there's nothing stopping him going from the west side unless he gets another one. The HRE making the most of the prelate, getting the 40% buffering rate, so it's a very fast gathering of wood and food for him. Yeah, he's going for the wood, so he's going to be looking to get another outpost. 100 wood in the bank already, and there it is. Another outpost, and it means that the outpost rush potential is, well, I mean, it's still potentially happening, but the amount of value that Valdemar can get is a little bit tricky. Probably not all that much. 2 spearmen heading across and looking to find the ways there first. And Scout needs to be careful not to be sniped. There's a lot of sheep coming home there for 3DB, 10 in total. That's a good haul. 2 more spearmen heading out too. The outpost would be built already, actually. Nice timing on that. Village garrison side. Valdemar going to find it out, and the scout garrison inside the sheep, inside the outpost rather. And the sheep, they're coming back home. So a good start here for 3DB, just to secure those resources, to secure the gold, and it means that now he just needs to focus on food and possibly get to that castle age at a very good timing. But what it does allow the Mongols to do, well, it gives them a decision to make now because of this. He's going to send the villager back. Yeah, he kind of has to. I mean, maybe he might look to outpost rush the berries. I mean, his villager's already there, probably going to head back home. There's not too much value to be had, and unfortunately, the Mongols are going to have to find another plan. He could potentially go for trade, but the trade route isn't the greatest if he decides to go with the silver tree. Well, he's going to continue the outpost, looking to deny the wood. His villager is out there already, I guess, and this is going to be those outposts are going to be a bit of a pain later on in the game, but nothing to really hurt the early game. But I've got to say, the number of sheep coming in for B, this is nice for him in terms of food count, which is exactly what he needs for that potential castle age. And the Arca Chapel, it's going to be a really nice spot for him. Let's take a look. Yeah, it should cover the gold villagers. Should cover the sheep if they're brought to this northern corner, which they are. They're prepped and ready. Although you might be wondering why the colours just swapped there. Well, because unfortunately there is a bit of a spectator bug in Capture Age. And it's when you put team colours like I have, because the regional colours were a little bit awkward for colourblind folks out there. So I decided to just default it for this game in particular to blue and red. And it will be the silver tree, so it's going to be looking to be trade. And I do wonder whether Valdemar would have opted to do this had the outpost rush started to do well, because he might have gone for the deer stones. But instead, it's going to go for the silver tree, maybe looking to get that trade up and running. Now that he knows that he'll have some time to do so, considering it's going to be a fast castle out for B. But what that does allow B to do is maybe consider get the Regulus Cathedral to get those all-important relics. Speaking of which, 2 of them on the west side of the map. Could be an area to contest for sure. We'll have to see how he decides to play this one out. So I hope you guys have been enjoying the content on the channel recently, whether it be on YouTube or Twitch. A very big thank you for everyone who is hanging around watching the games. Hope you guys have been enjoying. I certainly have, and hopefully be plenty more Age of Empires 4 content for you guys. Especially with the new DLCs, brought up a lot more new civilization matchups, new maps as well, so it's pretty exciting times if you're an Age of Empires 4 fan. There's that first outpost. He's just garrisoned a spearman in for now, and wait, does he have the villagers still there as well? Has he brought them back home? I didn't quite spot that, but anyway. There's no follow-up outpost, at least for now. Understandable, he's going to need that wood for the traders that will be coming out soon, and B does spot the landmark, by the way, so he knows that trade is always on the potential cards. Not that he minds, because it's going to be up to the castle age soon. Look at the food and gold coming in. Absolutely bonkers, the prelate. It's so strong for the HRE economy. Going to be putting him in a good spot for sure. Well, there it is. There's that feudal age for Valdemar. Oh, there's a stable. 2 Keshiks. So we're going to be putting a little bit of pressure. Maybe getting some traders after that. The biggest problem, though, for Valdemar is how did he deny the gold? Like, 2 outposts, it's going to be difficult to do. And wait, did I say Castle Age for Valdemar? I meant Feudal Age. I'm not sure if I said Castle Age for Valdemar there, but I meant, obviously, Feudal Age. Obviously, relatively delayed considering the outpost rush. That was, unfortunately, didn't get too much value. Thank you, Thatharas. Hope you have a good day. Reckons Cathedral. There we go. There it is being built. 10 villages. And maybe the Keshiks might die of this, actually. Might be able to sneak off one of those villages if he charges in. Does get the charge, but the villagers react in time. And he does delete the Regent's Cathedral. After all, a little bit greedy with the placement there'd be. I'm sure he's going to be rebuilding that a little bit closer to home in a bit of a land of safety. Yeah, there it is. A bit closer to home. 15 villages as well, so he wants that quick time. Does lose a little bit of time on that castle edge considering he had to delete that initial Regent's Cathedral. In fact, it looks like he tried to do it there as well. So 3 bites of the cherry. Double stable, so it's going to look like it's going to be knights coming out for the edge. Again, it's going to be pushed off and, well, it's going to delay that second stable, but ultimately he'll get it up in time. Struggling on the food to produce knights for now, though. And the trade has begun, ladies and gents. It's going to be 11 gold, a grand total of 11 gold. Fantastic. I'm sure he's going to want to move that silver tree soon. There's not a lot of gold. Trade route. Not looking great here for Valdemar just for now. Looking to get another prelate from the Regent's Cathedral. Look to gather those relics at some point. Now bear in mind that the castle age is only as good as if you can get those relics, ultimately. Unless it goes for the more of the military approach, which he is starting to get those knights. So get some mobility, but spearmen on the field. These other relic gathering will be a little bit tricky. Now Valdemar did get superior mobility. Will be making the silver tree move that little bit faster to extend that trade route. Still 10 villages on gold, which is actually quite a lot, I've got to say. Only 10 villages on food. Pretty interesting to see that amount of villages on gold for B. He's now going out to berries. Building an outpost, making sure he keeps that safe. And needs to get that food in coming. 2 knights heading across the field, looking to get some damage. And it was being chased by the spearman, but the spearman left behind, of course. And, well, the charge came out just on the spearman that just spawned. The spearman getting around on top of those traders, looking to keep them alive for as long as possible, of course. And let's see, with that silver tree deploying, how much gold will be coming in for those traders. We'll have to see. Oh, Keshik needs to back away. There is that castle age there for Valdemar, a decent timing. It's going to be 5 traders ultimately at the moment. Extended it, 84 gold. and 8 food, which is actually really nice, by the way. That's actually a really nice trade route now. But it's going to be relatively exposed. Valdemar. Just going to be careful about keeping those traders alive. Does lose a Keshik in the end. The Khan keeping an eye on things. Just one spearman so far. Gets a little poke and prodding, but with 4 knights might take that spearman out. Oh, about to charge in, but there are a lot more spearmen. He reacted well. He needed to. Keshik gets the charge off and bit of a Wallalow in the north. Doesn't get the Keshik in the end. Valdemar manages to get out of there. Oh, but looks like the prelate will be sniped, so only well, no relics in play here yet for the HRE, which is a bit of a shame for them. Does snipe out one of the traders. This is where the economy starts to scale really well for the Mongols. In this situation they match, it's really about how much damage B can do to the trade and how much trade Valdemar can keep alive and how long that continues. I gotta say, actually, the trade is so strong at this point for the Mongols. B is probably the one feeling the pressure. He doesn't have any of the relics just yet, and he's got to be careful not to lose a couple of traders here. The Khan will go down if he's not careful. Valdemar. Khan does go down. Behind the tree, and so will some traders. Of course, whilst the trade is very good for the Mongols, it's very difficult to defend without the static defences in the form of palisade walls. Does get cheaper outposts though, so possibly you might be looking to get a couple of those. Oh, Knight should get sniped there for B. Oh, doesn't get it in the end actually. Not all of them hit that, which is, was unexpected. So you need to send a couple of spearmen on the right side though, to make sure the trade stays alive. Kurultai heading forward, looking to make sure he gets maximum value out of that and fights. 2 veteran Keshiks going to go up against the Knights, so should win that fight, especially considering these Keshiks are regaining health. Shaman might look to get Wallalow, or Knight. Knight doesn't snipe him. Decides he's not going to risk it. Oh, Knight, that's not a good idea for B. Does back away in the end. The Kurultai will go up. The trade has been hampered for now, and he's going to need to send some units there, Valdemar, if he wants to keep the trade alive and going. Scout there for B, just to keep an eye on things on that trade route. Oh, might snap out another spear, another knight. Doesn't quite manage it, but takes a lot of HP. And now, bear in mind, these knights are losing health. And all these little bit of skirmishes here for Valdemar, putting him in an overall good position. Oh, there's villagers and berries. They need to be careful. They need to garrison inside. One goes down, and so will another. Maybe no, they're all garrisoned inside. No, 2 more are left running for their lives. Wallalow being deployed. Wait, he's got to be careful. B does back away. Snipes out the villager and then retreats on the west side. The scout has been taken out. They're going to snipe at the shaman. Does snipe out the shaman. So good little skirmishes here for B, getting some good value on the northwest. Keshik does pick off one villager. About to pick off another. Maybe no, doesn't get it. Doesn't get it in the end and backs away. A new Khan rising from the ashes. Oh, Valdemar's got to be careful not to lose these Keshiks too cheaply. Might lose one with the charge coming out. Should lose that one. Does. Good snap off there by B. The trade is looking okay now with the number of units on the field. Needs to be positioned a little bit better. The trade starts to get online again. That's a problem for B. Only 3 traders though so far. A couple have been sniped of course, and still was definitely cost effective. Definitely worth it so far for Valdemar the trade. 6 site being captured. Only 1 relic in play for the HRE, considering that's kind of one of their big things in the Castle Age. The Mongols doing it better, having 2 relics already deposited. And the Spriggan replacement inside the outpost is going to be looking to keep him safe, but that knight does get through. Oh, snaps out another knight. Good pick off there by Valdemar. The trade. Every trade route, every trip is so strong for Valdemar. Another stable coming up for B, so really looking to get the mobility on the field on a map like Cliffside can be very powerful. The question is, where does the gold come from? It's coming around the back. Now eventually on the map like Cliffside, it's actually kind of exciting because both players will need to start venturing into the middle of the map, although it's going to be more B rather than Valdemar with that, because of course Valdemar does have the option for trade for gold. B though will have to go into the middle of the map to get those gold veins. If something, if Valdemar can start getting outposts in strategic spots on those top of those gold veins, it could start to become very difficult for the HRE to gather that gold, especially with only one relic in the bank. Spearman chasing, as always. Still only 3 traders though. Doesn't want to commit too much here, Valdemar. Wants to keep ahead on the military numbers, or at least on par as much as he can. There's always the concern, or always the risk of overcommitting to trade. It does take resources, does take some time to pay back, but you need to keep them alive with enough military. Feels like Valdemar doing a good job with that. I would kind of expect to see him a couple more traders popping out soon, though. We'll see if he decides to do it or not. Poking and prodding in the north. I mean, there's not enough here. I mean, he does have a couple of, well, 1 crossbow and a decent number of spearmen. The spearmen just engaging here because they can't really get out of that position. Don't have the mobility. Valdemar, oh, apologies for that. Valdemar not taking the greatest of trades there. You're going to have to back away with the Khan. Sacred Site on the east comes in there for Valdemar. The Sacred Site on the west being contested. Both players just standing off each other so far. Quite a lot of army for both. I wonder whether B might even consider... It's not something that I would necessarily recommend at this stage because there's a lot of army for the Mongols, but a fast Imperial for the Panzer Swabi could scale his economy incredibly strong. Trouble is, he's got to make sure it doesn't die in the meantime. Whilst the Imperial Asia is cheaper, it's still very expensive. And we're getting Step Lancers, increasing the healing of the Keshiks, and also the attack speed. But again, he's always keeping an eye on the trade, which is kind of interesting because Valdemar hasn't got that much. He hasn't overcommitted or even committed that much. Kurultai making his way into the middle of the map. Loses 1 knight on that sacred site. Good snipe there for Valdemar once again. Now with 4 relics in play for the Mongols, this is not a position that B wants to be in as the HRE. This is actually a bit of a problem because it's one of the things that the HRE need to be doing if they want to stay competitive. Well, does lose those traders in the end. I think he's now down to 0 traders there, Valdemar. Yep, no traders on the field. Not necessarily a problem because he's keeping up, of course. There's no sort of eco advantage that the... Well, I take that back. I mean, they've got the prelate, right? So the 40% for the prelate is going to be doing wonders for the HRE. Has actually invested in a couple more prelates as well. It's something that not all players do, by the way. They often just stay with a couple. Sometimes just stay the one in the Ark and Chapel, but you can see those wood villages working overtime. Working very fast for the HRE. The gather rate is looking solid in that regard. But I do get the feeling that maybe Valdemar is just waiting for B to think about going to the Imperial Age and then pouncing. Pass a lot of crossbows and spearmen. Does really hard counter those knights coming up for the HRE. Might need a tech switch here, B. He doesn't. He's going up against the direct counter units. This could be a good fight for B though, if he takes it. Does have the 2 prelate, well 1 prelate. Yeah, loses the Keshik. Numbers wise, definitely favouring the HRE there. And I like this position, getting the Kurultai. Valdemar starting to extend himself, looking to get onto the middle of the map and start to pile some pressure. Does have those outposts already as well to fall back to. With 2 crossbows and the Shaman, that's a fight now that Valdemar, we're feeling a lot more confident about taking. And should snipe out the prelate. He gets it in the end. But he's got to be careful. He's going to start to be being pushed pretty heavily. Mixed army, crossbowmen, spearmen. A couple of, well, 1 or 2 man-at-arms and Keshiks. Mostly infantry, and B could consider getting a mangonel or 2. Could be useful. Valdemar spending everything he's got. B starting to think about taking those outposts. Not a bad play. And the Kurultai going to add a lot of into this fight, by the way, because it's going to be healing up these units. But also giving an additional 20% damage. It's not really a situation that B wants to engage with. Oh, might be looking to fight though. There's a lot of spearmen. Knights. He snipes that one knight. Bear in mind the ranged attack from the crossbow. The knights get too close, they're going to take some damage for sure. Staying off the trade for now. B just keeping a couple of units just to make sure the trade doesn't come back online. But ultimately for B, he's going to struggle on gold. Could possibly sneak out to the one on the east side. I would love to see some outposts though for Valdemar going on top of them. Just in case, instead of outposts, he might just send some cavalry instead. Because we're approaching the time where maybe the gold is running out. Yep, 1,000 gold left in the bank, and you can see Valdemar posturing in that direction, looking to make sure there's no sneaky villagers on the gold. Looking to get herbal medicine as well. Now, with only one of those outposts having emplacements, oh, this could be a massacre. Gets a good surround villagers. You know, decimated there. Gets a lot. That's rough there for B, I gotta say. Killed her handful, and well, only one villager remains there. And Keshiks can always come back to the Kurultai and heal up again. Knights heading the east side for B. But damage has already been done. Keeps the vision, so I think he spotted that, by the way. The Falcon, that's such a good use of that ability. Keshik's getting in the way. He takes the charge. In fact, this is going to be a good fight here overall for Valdemar. Has the sheer number mass, and fortunately for him, the crossbows didn't actually get in range. It's an interesting situation, because if B does decide to try and dive in a little bit too close for comfort, Valdemar might pounce. Speaking of which, that might come in now. He's got his army split. Kurultai might be sniped, by the way. Gotta be careful. Spearman take out a lot of knights. B not paying attention. He lost so many units. That's absolutely huge. Valdemar taking a huge battle, and the possibly worst possible time for B. He's heading forward with his infantry. Now he does have inspired warriors with the upgrade for the prelate, but he lost so much there. Those knight numbers are not what they could have been. A mangonel being deployed in the field to go against those infantry units. If that gets built, this could be a great fight for Valdemar. Valdemar's mangonel does deploy, doesn't get any hits on the units just yet. The second time round might be better. Keshik's diving in. There's not enough here anti-armored units. I mean, he's got archers mostly. They'll do well against the crossbows, but I mean, spearmen as well. The Keshik's looking in good numbers. A good choke point fight there for the HRE, although the mangonel deploys, gets hit on those archers. Knight's going to try and go around the south to try and snap out the mangonel. Valdemar responds, and he keeps the mangonel alive. And if we maybe see another mangonel, things could go from bad to worse for B. Heading back home, go around the south here with the knights. But good fight there for Valdemar and the Mongols so far. And it all came down to losing those knights here for B. Mangonel now comes out for B himself. Gonna go on top of the cliff. Takes the engagement, loses the Keshik as the first initial start of the engagement. Spearman deploy. Kurultai is active though. That's absolutely huge. Oh, those Keshik's going to dive on the mangonel. Huge mistake by B. He will lose that mangonel. And once he does, the mangonel will be uncontested from Valdemar's Mongols. Those archers are going to get surrounded. The archers can't retreat really. Mangonel deploys once again. Crossbows on the back line for the Mongols. A couple of gulam added in and sprinkled in. And that's a massive fight that just went in the way of the Mongols. B, he taps out. Took two fights that were really terrible for him in the end. And Valdemar with the Mongols on Cliffside takes the victory. What a great game of Age of Empires 4. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care and see you next time.